All right, guys, welcome to KGO Sports Talk. We're gonna fly through the matchups from Week 1. Real quick here, do 2 3 minute video. Starting out, the big shout outs for this week. Eddie leading the league in points, almost 150, and Adams at 142. Really solid weeks. Capron another good week, about 133 as well. Starting right out with the matchups, big differentiator with my matchup versus Aussie really came down to the running backs. Jeremy Hill, Chris Ivory, 40 points combined. Aussie's Isaiah Crowell, Benny Cunningham, who he picked up off of waivers, and ended up being his highest scoring running back. Had a pretty good week, but less than half the fantasy points that my team had. That ended up being the big differentiator there. And I would say the fact that really both sets of starting wide receivers really struggled for both of our teams. Aussie's got some studs with Demaryius Thomas, Kelvin Johnson. Struggled week 1. All right, moving on to Beeman and Pupeo. And, similar matchup, I would say, to mine and Aussie's. Big thing that jumps out to me here, obviously Gronk for Reelman. 3 touchdowns, 30 points out of your tight end. That's huge. Mark Ingram, another solid week. And certainly Aaron Rodgers anchoring his team. Jay, tough luck there with Des Bryant. And I think that's kind of the big thing there. And Amendola at flex. I don't know if that was the best move. But then again, I don't want to overanalyze the team. Amendola, who knows, could blow up this next week. Did like what I saw, though, out of San Francisco's D last night. That was huge. So solid D for Jay. Bills make the playoffs. Angier and Capron. Close matchup. Came down to Monday night. Great to watch. Peyton Manning struggled for Capron, obviously. Really liked what I saw to Jordan Matthews as an Eagles fan, but it was all in the second half. And of course, again, the trend, starting wideouts. Angier's starting wideouts struggled big time. 6 points out of Odell Beckham Jr., 4 points out of Andre Johnson. That hurts for him. Eddie Lacy, obviously, pretty strong game, and Forsett struggled. So that was a tough one. I would say moving forward, though, for Angier, solid team. Hopefully the loss of Des Bryant doesn't hurt Tony Romo, though. And getting back to it, Gordy and Eddie. Eddie just flipped out this week. So pretty much that was the trend here. Across the board, solid output from really everybody. Cam Newton, decent game, 17. But 35 out of Carlos Hyde. That's a huge week. He looked phenomenal last night. Brandon Marshall, solid week. Andre Ellington injured. We'll see what happens with him moving forward. And as far as Gordy's concerned, but his running backs killed him. AP and McCoy, 16 points combined. Not going to get it done there. 1 point out of Owen Daniels. So enough said there. As far as Billy and Chuck goes, another great matchup that really came down to Monday night, which is what it's all about here. Chuck just, again, getting it done with these guys. Jason Witten and Drew Brees, solid weeks. Jonathan Stewart, who we gave him a ton of shit for, had a decent week, 10 points. And the big thing for Billy, obviously, Sammy Watkins. I think he had 1 target, 0 points. Not going to win like that. But again, Jamal Charles, hopefully good week. T.Y. Hilton, pretty solid as well, but hopefully he's healthy. And Matty Ice to Julio Jones. I feel like we're going to be hearing that all year. And finally, to get to Casey and unfortunately the blowout of the week, Casey versus Adams. And Adams just, he just kind of nutted it this week. Just hit it on the screws, so to speak. Tom Brady, nice selection there with the start. DeAndre Hopkins, they're going to be trailing all year. So great play with DeAndre Hopkins. They're throwing all the time. Forte flipped out. For McKinley, just tough weeks. Deshaun Jackson got hurt, 0 points. Marshawn Lynch, 15 points, but he could have had probably 20 to 30. Just missing out on goal line stuff. Martellus Bennett, solid week. But again, Adams just too much. Blowout victory, 142 to 83. So guys, that is 5 minutes now. But closing out week 1, I know there's going to be a lot of activity tonight, and we'll see how things shake out in the morning.